Hello, hello, hello. This is Gresh from the I Am CEO podcast. I have a very special guest on the show today. I have Carrie Greene of Carrie Greene Coaching. Carrie, it's awesome to have you on the show.
It is so good to be here. Thank you for inviting me, and I am thrilled to be able to share with your community and get to know everybody really well. So here we go.
Here we go, indeed. And I love all the awesome work that you're doing. And before we jumped into having that awesome interview, I want to read a little bit more about Carrie so you can hear about all the awesomeness that she's doing. And Carrie Greene of Carrie Greene Coaching is an author, speaker, and a coach. Carrie spent 15 years on Wall Street in marketing and product development for major brokerage firms and the New York Stock Exchange. She left after 9/11 to start her own business. Carrie helps business owners understand the true value they bring to their clients' lives and businesses. Carrie's clients get clear on what they want and create simple, straightforward plans to get them there so that they can be profitable and happy. Carrie, are you ready to speak to the IMCO community?
Let's do this.
Awesome. Let's do it then. So to kind of kick everything off, I wanted to rewind the clock a little bit. I know I touched on it a little bit to hear a little bit more on your CEO story, and we'll let you get started with all the awesome work you're doing.
So, it's you mentioned 9/11. It really was the start of me as a business owner or as a wannabe business owner. What's my life going to look like? I have a degree in economics. I spent 15 years on Wall Street. I spent 10 years at the New York Stock Exchange, and really at the exchange, I learned everything not to do as an entrepreneur. And then after the New York Stock Exchange, I spent about, 2 years at a company called Daytech Online. Daytech, I learned everything you should do as an entrepreneur. So I guess it kind of balanced out. 10 years of the no, 2 years of the yes, and then I went off on my own. After 9/11, though, the company I was working for was bought out by another one out in, where are they? Right somewhere in the middle of the country. Gosh, it's just like totally gone from my brain.
Like
But
daughter,
right in the middle of the
Montana.
country, and I'm in New York. I'm in New York, and was kind of like thinking, like, do I really want to move? Like, take myself and my family away from it all, and realized that I had to figure out a way to make it work for myself, make it work for my family, do something different. And being that I am in, the East Coast, our real estate taxes are just through the roof. So I had to find a way to pay my taxes. And what was so amazing is over the years, my business has gone through many, many changes, and we've all grown, we've all changed. It's been a lot of years, almost 20 years at this point. Um, so I've been through a lot and I've learned a lot. And one of the things that really stayed with me, and for all of us to remember, any one of us who's had a job, which is probably just about everybody here, is to remember that just because somebody put a price tag on your head and someone valued you at one thing doesn't mean that that's what you're worth. So when I went out and when I left Daytech, I said, okay, Daytech, this is what Daytech was paying me. Now that I no longer work for Daytech, I no longer have to pay for a nanny. I no longer have to have dry cleaning. I no longer have to commute. I no longer have to buy lunch out. I no longer have to do all these things. And this is how much money I need to earn. As opposed to, so I said, this is what Daytech said I was worth. And this is what I have left that I need to earn. And it took years, honestly, before my brain kind of reworked that and said, now I get to focus on me and what I'm worth by my judgment versus what someone else says. So I don't know. I think I kind of veered around a little bit in my answer, but there you go.
Yeah, no, I appreciate you doing all the varying because I think it brought us to a phenomenal place because I think, and I love that exercise that you kind of talked about because I think so many times, especially if you do work for, in a job, in a position, a lot of times we will attribute our value, as you said so well, to whatever somebody else sees. But so many times, and I love that you mentioned that mind because we sometimes forget that mind plays a part in it, kind
Mm.
of thinking more internally rather than externally about like what we're worth and the value that we can provide. And so many times we forget that the organizations or companies sometimes we work with don't really think about it in those terms.
No, not at all. We're just a piece of it all. We're a piece of their budget as opposed to
Hmm.
what we're really bringing to it. I made this base number really quickly. Within a year or two, within a year really, I was earning what they had paid me minus dry cleaning and commute and
Hmm.
lunches and everything else. It took me about 5 years to earn a penny more than that because it was
Hmm.
really about working here.
Yeah, and you hear so many times, and I don't know if this is, to our detriment that, especially if you leave a position, you're like, I just want to make what I made in my day job. And I feel
Yeah.
like that's a phrase I hear so many times,
Hmm.
not realizing that we're potentially capping ourselves on a mental level as far as like what we're able to do and not even realizing I guess, the impediments we're putting there.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
Awesome, awesome, awesome. So I know that touches a little bit upon like how you work with your clients and some of those things that you probably have conversations about and help them to kind of, break through for lack of a better term. Could you take
Hmm.
us through a little bit more about that, what that process looks like and how you serve the clients you work with?
Absolutely. I'm a coach, and really quite simple. That's what I do. I'm a coach, and technically, I'm a business coach. And yet, I just got off the phone before this conversation here with a brand new client. And what we focused on entirely was her vision for her life, and really not her business at all. And really, what I look at what it is I do, um, I coach my clients on what they want out of their life. My personal goal is fun and happiness. If I'm not having fun, I don't even bother. One of my rules is if I don't like a client, I don't want to work with them. I don't want to see their name on my calendar. As a business owner, I have the ability to say no to people I don't like. It might not be the nicest thing to do, but I think it's nice to me. And I think in a lot of ways it's nice to the person also. They want to be liked as well. So when I'm working with my clients, there are a couple of key things we do. Um, One is we certainly work on their business. We work on marketing. We work on sales. We work on what we're going to do, how we're going to do it, how we're going to talk to clients, how we're going to market, how we're going to write our copy. What are we going to do during a presentation? How we're going to structure a speech? All those kind of things, of course. But we do it all while looking at ourselves and making sure that we're valuing ourselves, that we're getting what we need from that presentation to make yourself happy at the end of the day. So when you go to sleep at night, you're thinking, okay, it might have been a tough day. Things may not have gone as planned. Someone may have hung up on me. Someone may have said yes to me or no to me or whatever. But all in all, I'm happy. I'm happy with the direction things are going in. I feel like the people I'm interacting with recognize who I am and what I am and why I am and what value I am bringing to this conversation. Um, but when you ask the question, what am I? I'm a coach. That's what I do. I'm a business coach who really is, in a lot of ways, a life coach.
Yeah, it's so funny. I say so often that we often try to put silos on business life, personal and business, vice versa, and
Yeah.
not realizing how intertwined both of those things are. How, like,
Yeah.
if you're not, achieving in personally, sometimes that could affect your business. If you're not achieving in your business, it could affect your life, or vice versa. So I love that you've mentioned that and the overlap and the I guess
Yeah.
changeability, if that's even a word, of both of those. And I really love that value piece because I think that as we kind of talked about in the beginning, we sometimes think of value in terms of monetary and in terms of numbers and what that means. But sometimes that value is like, I value my happiness over working with somebody who makes me unhappy. And that's
Yeah.
extremely powerful to know that you have that ability to do that and that it sounds like, empower people to be able to make those decisions.
And what's interesting is when you take the time and you step back and you value yourself in that way and you value your time, you actually end up making more money, making more impact, having more time, having whatever it is you wanted because you've stood up for yourself. So by valuing yourself, you're valuing the people around you as well. I've actually written a book about it. That's what one of my books is about, is what I call the value formula. And it's all focused on knowing who you are and appreciating who you are and what you are and what you do so that you can ultimately work with people and raise your prices and get the money you want and have the sales conversations and everything else. And talk about the interchangeability or the flexibility, how everything impacts each other. Um, when I finished my book, my daughter was a senior in college, and she's a great proofreader. She really is. And I said, Sammy, I need your help. Just everyone's read this, the editor, the proofreader, this, that. Just go through it, make sure it's right. So she reads the book. Here, this is the book, Because You're Worth It. She reads the book and she says, Mom, this book isn't about business. I said, yes, it is. The book is about business. The subtitle is How to Make More Money by Charging More Money. I mean, this book is about business. And she says, but mom, this is about life. All my friends should read this book because the value
Mm.
formula is about life. So you just have to put yourself first, and that everything else comes out of that.
Yeah, I love that you broke that down. I love that of course, you wrote the book, and I think so many times we forget that those close to us sometimes can see stuff with fresh eyes and new eyes, and especially
Yes.
if you may not have a business or you're looking at it from a different way, but you understand like how that value formula, as you kind of spoke to, kind of manifests itself in so many different ways in our
Mm-hmm.
life. And I think even in Think and Grow Rich, I think Napoleon Hill even talks about like how a lot of the problems we have stem from self-worth and how we value ourselves. And if we
Mm-hmm.
are able to kind of tackle that and look at that and address that, a lot of times, some phenomenal things can kind of come from there.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Awesome, awesome, awesome. So I wanted to ask you for what I call your secret sauce. And this could be for yourself or your business or a combination of both. But what do you feel kind of sets you apart and makes you unique?
My secret sauce, I think it's something, I think our secret sauce is something that we always work on. I think it's something that we grow into, and where your secret sauce is today isn't where your secret sauce isn't tomorrow. I think it's the same, but I think it grows. And I think for me, it's something that I didn't believe in when I was a kid and when I was on Wall Street. And a lot of it is just to trust myself and my own intuition. Um, I'm a Wall Street person. I'm a business person. I don't talk intuition. I don't talk about spiritual. It's just like, oh, I study economics and business and spreadsheets. Like, I don't do this stuff. But yet, what I've learned over the years is that the more I trust what I call my gut instinct, the better off I am, the better off people around me are. Um, I have the ability, and I have no idea how. Talk about secret sauce. I think it's a secret from me too. I have the ability somehow to be able to take a lot of puzzle pieces from somebody's life. Somebody will just say, I've got this and I've got that, and I've got all these different things going on. And somehow I have the ability to say, but this is the one. And this is how they all fit together. I have no idea how I do it. I don't know where it comes from. It's just, it's my gut instinct in somehow. And when you talk about secret sauce, that's what I give. That's what I've got. I had a coach once who once said to me, "You charge the most for what comes the easiest to you."
Mm.
And you think like, "Gosh, that's so crazy. This is so easy. Why should I charge anything?" Because that's your gift. That's your secret sauce. And my ability to take all these random puzzle pieces and just say, "This one is my gift," and that's what I do.
That's extremely powerful. I appreciate you for sharing that. And I think so many times, like we look at the gifts that we have, the things that come naturally, come easily, and we often will undervalue those things
Yeah.
because we think everybody knows how to do them. We think everybody is aware of those things, but often those are the things that you mentioned so well that sometimes we work at, but also come naturally. And those things that we work at and that we want to perfect, we enjoy doing them. We have joy in terms of, doing them on a regular basis, really provide that greatest opportunity for us to kind of grow that business. And I think that a lot of times, and correct me if I'm wrong, it seems like when you undervalue those things to some degree, you're kind of undervaluing yourself. And I think that those things kind of go, hand in hand.
You absolutely do undervalue yourself. And then you put so much attention to the things that you're really not that good at. It's like instead of doing this that you're really good at, which you think is just a stupid thing that everybody can do, you're paying all this attention to this stuff that you're just not that good at. So why bother? I call them dumb moments. Like, when like, you mean you don't see that? Are you kidding me? Like, of course it's blue. Like, what else would it be?
Right.
And everyone's looking at you like, wow, that's blue. And you're like, really? Duh.
Yeah.
But those are the things that you need to focus all of your attention on. And become the best realizer that that is blue, whatever the thing is that you do, because that's where you have the most to give, and that's what people want from you, and that's what
Yeah.
you should get paid for it.
Absolutely. And I think it speaks too to like so many times we don't realize, and we talked about, intuition and having this gut feeling. A lot of times we think it just sometimes comes from nowhere, but
Yeah.
you mentioned, being able to be in business for 20 years and of course having career before that. I think
Mhm.
so many times those gut feelings often will come from the experience that we had before. And you have that gut feeling. You may not be able to say it in words necessarily,
Yeah.
but you know it because potentially you've seen it before. And I think that's where that experience, and sometimes we think that gut feeling comes from nowhere, but sometimes it's from, living life, having those experiences and being able to kind of understand that's where that's coming from.
The value formula, the L in yeah, VALUE, the L in value stands for learning, what you've learned.
Mm,
I had a client who once said to me, Carrie, I'm old. I know things. I've learned a lot. I was like, and that's exactly what you should be teaching. And just because you learned something when you were 10 doesn't mean it's not valuable when you're 20 and 30 and 40 and
mm.
60 and 90. Doesn't matter when you learned it. It's still good.
Yeah, absolutely. And sometimes we get locked into the quote unquote resume. You can't put anything before, your college years as far as
Yeah,
being of value, but everything that we do builds up into who we are and what we're able to kind of provide as far as value.
exactly.
Awesome, awesome, awesome. So I wanted to switch gears a little bit, and I want to ask you for what I call a CEO hack. So this could be like an app, a book, or a habit that you have, but what's something that makes you more effective and efficient?
Remembering to have fun, that if it's not, and that's not, God, it sounds so trite, but not everything is fun in the minute. I get it. You pick up the phone again and again and again, and it's painful and it's hard. Um, you're running a race, and every mile you do isn't fun, and all the training isn't fun. I know. But just for me, it's to remember that if what I'm leading to and the work I'm putting in isn't leading to something that's going to put a smile on my face, I need to stop and I need to reevaluate. And to me, that's my mantra. It's what I live by. It's I need to be having fun. I need to be laughing. Oh, one other thing, I need to get outside. I need to
Mhm.
step outdoors and breathe air every day. Sometimes that's a minute, and that's really fine. Just breathe air. So those two things, make sure that whatever I'm doing to leads to fun, and breathe air are the CEO hacks for me. Without doing that, I can't do anything.
Yeah, I appreciate both of those. Of course, being able to kind of get out. And I think sometimes, especially if we're dealing with certain problems that we're trying to find solutions from, sometimes we think by barreling down and continue to kind of look for the solution
Yeah,
that provides the answer. But often, going to get a breath, walking the dog, whatever that might be, actually provides that opportunity to kind of get clear head and really to get that clarity that we need to solve those problems.
yeah.
And I love that fun piece because I think so many times being aware of the process and not everything is going to be fun, but you're
Hmm.
doing it because your ultimate goal is fun. So
Yes,
you're going through the hard times, the less than ideal times, because you have something that is truly your mission, your calling, the thing that you want to do is what keeps us going. And understanding that is so important to kind of understanding each of the nuances and the day-to-day processes we have to go through.
exactly, exactly.
Awesome, awesome, awesome. So I wanted to ask you now for what I call a CEO nugget. So this could be a word of wisdom or piece of advice. It might be something you would tell a client, or if you hopped into a time machine, you might tell your younger business self.
Believe in yourself. Just it's again, it sounds so trite. It's so overused. It's so done, and it's also you really do know. You really do know. Um, as a coach, my belief in my job is to help somebody do what they already know. Um,
Mhm.
now, as a coach, I also believe that there's a reason you've hired me, and it isn't just to uncover what you know. And I need to teach you things, and I need to show you things, and everything else. However, I think that underneath it all, you really do know answers. Um, so it's believe in yourself and be brave enough. to recognize that you do,
Mhm.
because you might believe in yourself, but unless you're brave enough to do it, it it doesn't matter. So I think those go in hand in hand.
Yeah, I appreciate you for sharing that. And of course, doing that with your clients and everyone you work with as well, too, because I think it really, speaks, to me, because I think so many times, as we talked about our gifts, the things that we do so naturally, sometimes we're not aware of them because we kind of minimize them, we devalue them, and we don't realize that that is the beautiful thing that we have and that we're able to give. But again, being able to kind of execute on those things and understand those things and how we can take those steps into those gifts and those things and create that happiness that we kind of talked about. And the hack
Mm-hmm.
is really what we sometimes need: fresh eyes and that space to be able to be comfortable in being ourselves, be comfortable in sometimes not following the path that everybody else follows. So a lot of times we need that help, from people that do phenomenal work like you to be able to not just step into it, but step into it, maybe being scared, but still stepping into it to
Yeah.
make it happen.
And I think you're really keying in on something. It's like, um, knowing is great, being brave is great, but needing the support to help you to do is, yes, it's the three of them. So good.
Yeah, absolutely. We sometimes forget that the environment that we have around ourselves, whether that be people we love and we care
Right.
about, people that are on our team, coaches, or even things that we're listening to, play as much a part in us being successful as everything else as far as executing and knowing what to execute on.
Probably more. Not as
Yeah.
much, probably more.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. You're absolutely right. Well, Carrie, truly appreciate that. And now I wanted to ask you my absolute favorite question, which is the definition of what it means to be a CEO. And we're hoping to have different quote unquote CEOs on the show. So, Carrie, what does being a CEO mean to you?
Being a CEO. See, this is where I'm supposed to have said, well, I wish I'd seen the questions first. Then I'd have some really fabulous thing to say. Being a CEO to me is getting to do it my way, um, getting to lead a team of people. And I don't have a huge team, but just a couple of people that work with me in different things. Getting to have my vision, getting to impact people the way I want to impact people, getting to, it's really doing it my way, and seeing the fruit of my labor be really the fruit of my labor. When I make mistakes, it shows. And when I do something right, it shows also. And all in all, I get to see myself growing. So being a CEO to me is learning, growing, doing, um, making mistakes, having fun, getting outside for a minute or two every day, and just really living that life. It encompasses it all.
Yeah, I absolutely love that definition and perspective. If I had the rights, I would cue the Frank Sinatra music as well too, because I think that when you really think about business and entrepreneurship, it's really kind of creating your own path and getting to understand what is the thing that you love, what is the North Star, what is the thing that's going to keep you going, and then you start
Mhm.
to kind of work backwards from there. Which is why I love all the work that you do, because so many times we look externally to get the answers, where a lot of times those answers are within, and you being able to kind of uncover that, empower people is so huge towards being able to understand how they want to be CEOs, how they want to be business owners, how you want to ultimately live your life.
Yes. Well, thank you. You
Definitely,
summed it up
definitely.
so nicely.
I try. Well, Carrie, truly appreciate that definition, and I appreciate your time even more. What I wanted to do is just pass you the mic, so to speak, just to see if there's anything additional you can let our readers and listeners know, and of course, how best they can get a hold of you, get a copy of the book, and find out about all the awesome things that you're working on.
Well, how to get a hold of me is really easy. My email address is Carrie at carriegreenecoaching.com. It's CarrieGreene. There's a really annoying silent E at the end of green, coaching.com. So that's how you get a hold of me. My book is, I've got, here, we'll share this one. Because You're Worth It, How to Make More Money by Charging More Money. It's available on Amazon. So you can get it there, really simple. It is about the value formula that I spoke about. And when you ask, like, what's one thing that someone could really take away, or a couple of things that someone can take away, to me, it's believe in yourself. This stuff is hard. Being an entrepreneur is not for everybody. It's hard. Waking up every morning and pushing and doing, and the rejection and the opportunities. I mean, rejection is one thing, but all of a sudden you get an opportunity for an interview, an opportunity to speak here, an opportunity to do email marketing and to do this thing and that. It's overwhelming and it's hard. And it's not for everyone. If it's not for you, stop. It's really fine. But if it is for you, keep at it. It's doable. It's it's possible. It can give you things that you could never get any other way. It is such a lesson. There's no better way to learn about yourself than to try to have a business. Such a lesson in personal development. There's nothing like it. And get the support you need, whether it's from me, CarrieGreeneCoaching.com. You could certainly reach out to me, whether it's through you, whether it's through anybody. Don't try to do this alone. You can't. And it's not fair to you, and it's not fair to the people who need your help.
Yeah, Carrie, I truly appreciate that message. We will have the links and information in the show notes as well too, so that everybody can follow
Thank
up
you.
with you, get a copy of all the awesome things that you're working on as well too. But I appreciate you for that final word. I think so many times, especially in this microwave, I guess, society, sometimes we feel like everything's kind of quick and easy. It's not dirty, it's not mucky, but in reality, it often is, and that's why we've kind of talked about that joy. Not that everything's joyous, but that joy is sometimes what keeps you
Yeah.
going throughout the less than ideal times. And I think so many times people don't realize that journey, don't realize sometimes the challenge of running a business. And when they get kind of hit in the face, they stop. So I appreciate you so much for the work that you do, obviously, for mentioning that as well too, because I think that helps people be more likely to succeed by understanding what they're walking into.
Hmm.
So thank you so much again, and I hope you have a phenomenal rest of the day.
Thank you.